put the materials in a room, let us see them, and then we can tell you what our answer is and what our discernment is of whether or not this is a true national security threat or whether or not this is an abuse of discretion by Attorney General Garland.
Do you take home documents marked special access?
No.
And yet you're casting doubt.
And quite frankly, I've been in the Oval Office with the president. I'd be very surprised if he has actual documents that rise to the level of immediate national security threat.
Well, the documents, just to be clear, several sets, and you're aware of that because you've seen the property receipt. You're casting doubt. You want information. You don't actually have that information on which to base that conclusion at this point. But you yourself would not take home documents that are marked special access. You would not take home this sensitive, compartmented information.
Well, remember what I'm casting doubt on. I mean, it's not, these are labeled that. We don't know whether or not these are classified and rise to that level. But the second thing we don't know is, are they a national security threat? Attorney General Garland could have gone to court to enforce the subpoena that he had.
Sir, do you know they're not?
Asking the court to demand that Donald Trump deliver the materials to the court, and said he spent 9 hours in his home. That rises to the highest level. We give them authority to be intrusive and invasive, and that's to be used sparingly. There are other options that are available to him. The fact that they spent 9 hours in Trump's residence, they're going to have to justify that.
They had concern this could be a national security threat. When you cast doubt on that, do you have evidence that this was not a national security threat, or that this was known to not be a national security threat? Well, that's what's great about this. We're actually to the point, and I'm sorry, you're breaking up a bit for me, but we don't have to speculate. We have all the clearance. Congress has all the powers of oversight. All Attorney Garland has to do is comply with the laws, provide this information to us, let us look, show us the goods. Bipartisan basis, people are calling for the Attorney General Garland, show us the goods. We need to determine, is this a national security threat? And as we also determine that is, was there abuse of discretion by Attorney General Garland?
So the term cognitive dissonance comes to mind a lot these days, and if you're wondering why, it is this guy, Mike Turner, who, by the way, is the top Republican on the House Intelligence Committee, who, in the same breath, explains why he would never take classified documents home, and yet the fact that Donald Trump did take classified documents home is no big deal. I'd ask Turner, if it's truly no big deal, why doesn't he just try to take some documents home with similar classifications as the one Trump took to his own home? Why not live by the same excuses he's making? Oh, because he doesn't want to do anything illegal? You don't say. What's telling too is how Turner thinks that somehow the onus is on Merrick Garland to prove that he hasn't behaved improperly. Not the guy who had over a dozen boxes of classified government documents that a federal magistrate agreed met the evidentiary burden of probable cause, stored in his golf club. No, that guy doesn't deserve even a moment of scrutiny. The real scrutiny here should be focused on the law enforcement official who oversaw the repossession of those documents. Yeah, no, that makes total sense. I love too how Turner tries to suggest that Congress should make the final determination as to whether the execution of the search warrant was necessary, as if Congress is made up of neutral arbiters. I'm sure we'll get some real nuanced takes from Jim Jordan and Matt Gaetz. I'm sure we'll really be able to dig into the intricacies of this case and make a judgment free from partisan affiliation. Give me a break. This guy wants to get Congress involved so that a bunch of Trump lapdogs can do what they always do and yet again pretend that he did nothing wrong, and in fact, the real issue here is Barack Obama and Hunter Biden and Hillary Clinton and any other boogeyman who's apparently responsible for the crimes that Donald Trump himself committed. Because deflection and obfuscation are all that these people have. And of course, the ultimate irony here, that Republicans have spent the better part of a decade clutching their pearls over the grave, disqualifying, unforgivable crime of mishandling classified documents by Hillary Clinton, and yet when Donald Trump does essentially the same exact thing, it's a receiving line of Republicans who cannot fall over themselves fast enough to explain why, in fact, that was totally fine and it's no big deal to withhold classified documents that you've stolen out of the White House at your golf club where you regularly consult with buffet patrons. It must be freeing to not be constrained by any semblance of principle or consistency. So I hope that when you watch stuff like this, you recognize that these Republicans have one goal: to run cover for the guy who they always run cover for. The guy who can try to unilaterally undermine democracy, incite an insurrection, overturn a presidential election, steal government secrets, and then throw a tantrum when he's not given impunity. These Republicans might pretend to stand for some democratic principles, but those are always undermined when someone on their own side commits the same crime that they were just railing against, and of course it suddenly becomes a non-issue. These people put put party over country 100 times out of 100. So let's not pretend that they are ever acting in good faith. Before you go, couple things. First, if you want to support my work, the best way is to subscribe to this channel. The subscribe button is right here on the screen. And second, if you want to see and hear more from me, check out my website, briantylercohen.com. That way you can get links to my podcast, merchandise, ways to donate to voting rights organizations, and so much more. The thumbnail is also right here on the screen, so go check it out. And as always, thank you so much for watching.